Hello there. The British government's first round of talks to strengthen cooperation with the EU after Brexit was boycotted by Sinn Fein when it's about the protocol for Northern Ireland. British Foreign Secretary James Cleverly was in Belfast on Wednesday to brief party leaders on the latest progress in the UK-EU negotiations. The talks are aimed at finally settling the dispute over the Northern Ireland protocol. Michelle O'Neill, Sinn Féin leader in Northern Ireland and First Minister designate since last May's Northern Ireland Assembly elections, declined to attend the meeting. She made it a condition that party leader Mary Lou McDonald, who had travelled from Dublin for the meeting, be allowed to attend. Cleverly's meeting in Belfast took place with the pro-British Democratic Unionist Party and Ulster Unionist Party and the cross-sectarian Alliance Party, without either party supporting a united Ireland being present. MacDonald, who is the leader of the opposition in the Irish Parliament but does not hold a ministerial post, accused the government in Westminster of bad faith and irritability. In my discussions with Northern Ireland's political leaders today, I have stressed that while an agreement on the protocol is vital, I remain of the view that the decentralised institutions must return as soon as possible, said Northern Ireland Secretary Chris Heaton-Harris on this occasion. Northern Ireland has been a political impasse since March, when the DUP, which supports Northern Ireland remaining in the UK, resigned from, or not even wanted to start a government in Belfast. They had since refused to form a government with Sinn Féin, which won the general election in May, until their concerns about the Northern Ireland Protocol are allayed, although they want it scrapped, and that won't happen. According to the Good Friday Agreement, the two largest parties representing the national and unionist communities must be involved in government. And last week, the new Irish Prime Minister, Taoiseach Leo Varadkar, said the terms of the protocol were too strict and had worked without full enforcement, raising hopes that the European Commission would soften its negotiating position somewhat. But I completely disagree with Varadkar on this one. Earlier this week, the EU and the UK agreed to access a new database providing real-time information on goods heading from the UK to Northern Ireland. Further talks between Cleverly and European Commission Vice President Maroš Šefčovič are scheduled for next Monday. UK and Brussels officials had hoped to be close to an agreement before UK ministers announced the date for the new elections in Belfast, which are legally mandated after failing to form a devolved government. The UK is also aiming to complete both general elections and an agreement on protocol by April, when US President Joe Biden is expected to make his first visit or state visit to the UK to mark the 25th anniversary of the Good Friday Agreement. But I personally am not that optimistic. Seriously, I believe that the EU cannot soften this. Varadkar is wrong on this point. They, 2 years ago, it's now almost 2 years ago, that they made suggestions that would reduce the checks at the inner UK border in the Irish Sea for goods, would reduce the checks about 80%. But the UK government didn't want to talk about this. And so they haven't implemented the protocol at all properly. And so why should the EU soften something? We're talking about the security of a whole single market with hundreds of millions of inhabitants. It was not the decision of the people in the EU that Brexit would happen. And the ones that decided to have Brexit have to take the consequences of Brexit. And I'll see you in my next video. I'll be back.